Do you want to become a better singer? Don't we all? Maybe you want to become just a little better so you can tolerate your own voice. Maybe you don't want to be the next big thing, but you want to know if you're doing it right. Well, this is the pod for you. We're going live today to answer any singing questions you have. I also have some great topics from the week. People have been asking some really good questions this week on the YouTube channel comments. And I also am going to be featuring my music producer friend, teacher. She's also really well versed in the world of mindfulness. I thought she'd be a great person to talk to. So I'm introducing you all to her today. If you have any questions for her, her name's Mary Dew, then let me know in the comments and I'll go live with her one of these days. I'm also going to be featuring my student Justin of All James Music and his vocal transformation. Y'all, it's awesome. It's incredible. And I'm also going to be playing The Fate of Ophelia. So this is going to be a really fun day. If you have any singing questions, let me know in the chat. I'm really excited to hear what you're wondering about singing and answer the best I can about any singing you have. I've been a teacher for about 10 years now, teaching online. I have students all over the world, and I'm really excited you're here today. So welcome and sound off in the comments. Okay, moving on. We're jumping right into it here. Let's go to the first question of the week. Okay, it says, can you sing it? Can you sing it? That was on my video live about the fate of Ophelia, how to sing it. And so, all right, sure, let's start with that. So I'm going to sing for you guys in my own voice a cover of the fate of Ophelia. And I'm actually going to change the key. Yeah. So I'm going to move it up a half step for me. All right. Maybe that'll help avoid copyright as well. Copyright flagging. All right. Let me know if y'all have been working on this song. We'll see if I'll be able to scroll and play. All right, we're live. We're live. Here we go. I heard you calling on the megaphone. You wanna see me all alone. As legend has it, you are quite the pyro. You light the match to watch it blow. And if you never come for me, I might have drowned in the melancholy. I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I right before I lit my sky up. All that time I sat alone in my tower, you were just holding your powers, now I can see it all. Late one night I stuck me out of the grave and saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia. Keep it 100 on the land, the sea, the sky. Pledge allegiance to your hands, your team, your vibes. Don't care where the hell you've been, 'cause now you're mine. That sleepless night you've been dreaming of. The fate of Ophelia, the eldest daughter of a nobleman. Ophelia lived in fantasy, but love was a cold bed full of scorpions. The venom stole her sanity. If you never come for me, might have drowned in the purgatory. You wrapped around me like a chain, a crown, a vine, pulling me into the fire. All that time I sat alone in the tower, you were just holding your powers, now I can see it all. Late one night you dug me out of the grave and saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia. Keep it 100 on the land, the sea, the sky. Pledge allegiance to your hands, your team, your vibes. Don't care where the hell you've been, 'cause now you're mine. About to be the sleepless night you've been dreaming of. The fate of Ophelia, locked inside my memory, and only you possess the key. No longer drowning and deceived, it's all because you came for me. Locked inside my memory, and only you possess the key. No longer drowning and deceived, all because you came for me. All that time I sat alone in my tower, you were just holding your powers, I can see it all. Late one night you dug me out of my grave and saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia. Keep keep it 100 on the land, the sea, the sky. Pledge allegiance to your hands, your team, your vibe. Don't care where the hell you've been, 'cause now you're mine. It's about to be the sleepless night you've been dreaming of. The fate of Ophelia. Thank y'all. Oh my God, that made me so nervous. I was panicking. All right, well, there it is. There's fully live, no edits, no auto tune. So you will hear all the flaws in my guitar playing as well. Moving on to the next question. Glad you're here. All right. So let's move on to another question from the week. This is from a viewer, Chris, and he's asking about some technique stuff. So let's read this. He says, so it turns out I've been singing too loud because I talk loud. Anyway, ever since I stopped singing loud, my mix is better, especially going back and forth to chest. My breathing is still terrible, he says, but he's working on it. Because of this, I can sing almost any song now. Thanks for the cat sounds. Okay, I am like the meow queen. It's my thing, meow. And I'm really glad he mentioned this. And so anyways, let's go to Chris's question. So what he's saying is once he realized he didn't need quite so much breath when he was singing, the whole world of singing opened up for him. So when we're learning to sing as kids and in choir, a lot of us have been told repeatedly to take really big breaths, okay? The fact of the matter is, a lot of contemporary singing is a lot closer to speech. You just heard Fate of Ophelia. It's very speech-like than operatic singing, which is a totally different style and a little bit of an older style, obviously. And when we were singing without microphones, less contemporary styles require you to take a bigger breath because you're creating a much bigger sound, a different type of sound. So when you're working on finding your mix or that whiny quality, that belty quality, you're going to want to actually experiment with less breath, more of a speaking breath. It sounds counterintuitive, but I'll give you an example. So if I were to do a big breath and go, late one night, hear how it's a little more airy and head voicey? Well, if I want that mixy quality, try taking a speaking breath. Late one night, it's already clearer just from taking a smaller breath. So another reason you want to do that is because your voice transitions from low to high. And in that transitional period, which is a really great place to find your mix, you want to back off on the intensity anyways. Whatever type of singing you're doing, regardless, you want to back off on that breath pressure anyways when you're going through those transition periods. So if you find your voice cracks or breaks and you're not sure why, it could be because you're having too much breath pressure at that particular spot. So that's why with my students, I like to figure out, okay, where are your breaks? Where do you struggle with that transition? And let's go through that passaggio in warm-ups and in songs and point out where that is and practice lightening that up in that transition. And that's what a lot of voice teachers, you'll hear them call it coordination. Okay, we're working on coordination. Yay. Okay, I have another question from Chris, so I'm going to put that up here, and if y'all have a question while singing, let me know. All right, so he says, I have another question. As someone who has two prime voices, so he identifies as a tenor and a baritone, I think is kind of what he's saying. Is it normal for my mix, aka tenor voice, to sound so thin? Because when I go back to chest voice, it has my baritone voice, which sounds different. Okay, so not to complicate things, I'm just going to think of this questioner's voice as a whole and not separating it into tenor, baritone voice parts. I think it's just easier to think, okay, in your lowest of low ranges, that sound is different from your high voice. The further I would say you get from high, high, high to low, 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 your timbre, the sound is going to change naturally. So there are some songs that have a really wide range, but that's kind of why, one, you want to find a song that plays more to a money zone. And so it's easier to keep that consistency throughout. And if not, you want to sing the song with the whole song in mind. So if you know most of the song sits in your upper range and you're singing it, but then when you dip into your low range, it's too heavy sounding. So you're going, "Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed?" And you feel like the tops are just too piercing. Um, then you can like move it down, or you can strategize so that the gap isn't as obvious. Maybe don't put as much weight on those lower notes to make it sound a little smoother. That was not the best example because I was singing the Star Spangled Banner in a really high key. So I guess an easier version of this would be like, "Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's," and then so that's heavier, and "what so proudly we hail." You don't want that to be super duper different. So just work on sliding through and finding the money zone where it's like most consistent. I don't know if that made any sense. Hey, here we go. We're live. There's a lot of craziness. All right. So let's go to the next question here. Is my tongue supposed to move a little? Singing right is so confusing. All right, and this segues into the next question, I think, about vowels. Well, Joel asked about vowels, so I'll just tell you what he said. So the vowel chart is something that we talk about with singing, the vowel chart, and that is a perfect example of, yes, your tongue does move. Your tongue does move when you sing. So when you do for me an E, notice how your tongue is shaped, or what it's doing, E, as opposed to O. You can feel in the back when you do a O, it's sort of depressed in the back. You notice your whole vocal tract, so everything connected to your larynx and that tube moves depending on how you shape your vowels. E, A, Ah, O, Oo. There are more optimal ways to move your tongue. So when you're singing, you don't want your tongue to get stuck like Kermit the Frog. "Oh, say, can you see?" I'm sticking my tongue kind of back. But you also might not want it to be too forward because for some people, that might bring your larynx up a little bit too high for those higher notes, and it might cause some tension. So you want to incorporate making shapes with your mouth, vowel shapes in your warm ups. Okay. Because it loosens everything up. You uh, learn how to manipulate your tongue, relax it, or shape it to the vowel, which is typically different than how we speak. When we speak, we might have our tongue more involved than we want. When we sing, we want our tongue just a little bit more relaxed, but it does move to answer your question. Okay, any other questions in the chat about singing? Thank you for this. That was very nice. Thank you for those of you who subscribed. I do these lives almost every week, so it's really fun. You can really see what's going on in the studio, and I do have some special guests who I will talk about today. I'm very excited. And let's go on to just a couple of comments we had from the week. So this is another really good one. Um, I like how you use many opportunities to stress that we're all allowed to be different and even more. I love how you use light humor. Thank you so much. And the comment just goes on to say that a lot of these voice coaches on YouTube, which I love a lot of them myself, they're really serious, and that can be like SNL worthy, this commenter said, because of how serious they can be. And it's just unapproachable sometimes, which I totally get that. It's not brain surgery we're doing over here. It's just singing. It's supposed to be fun, right? That's how I feel. Okay. Anywho, let's go to a question in the chat. How can I improve my range? There's a lot of different ways you can improve your range, but the one that I recommend the most is sliding. So doing top down slides, like a sigh, or sliding up, ooh. You might find you like one more than the other. If you can slide up to a note, ah, you can sing it. You can sing it. It's just a matter of training your voice to be able to land on the note. So let's say I'm struggling with all that time I sat alone in my tower, and I'm not able to hit it. Try tower, slide up to it, and then try to tower. Try to land on it once you find that placement, if you will. Hope that helps. So sliding really helps. Another thing to work on if you're trying to improve your upper range is what we were talking about before. As we get higher in our range, we're going to want to manage our breath differently. We don't want to push the breath and push our voice higher. We want to gently work through that transition. So, getting a little whinier through those transitions. You feel a crack coming on? A little whinier, a little more forward. And that helps sneak up a little bit higher through those breaks that we have in our registers, low, middle, and high. It also really helps to exercise all parts of your range. If you want to sing higher, focus on your low range as well because it all works together. It's all one voice. If you can relax into your low range, what you're doing is relaxing your larynx so that it can hopefully stay relaxed as you slide up into your upper range as well. So that's why songs like The Fate of Ophelia, although they're difficult because they jump around a lot, are helpful in the sense that when you get to those, I hear you calling, is more chesty, and then that relaxes you for all that time I sat alone in my tower. That jump. So it can help you. Anyway, hope that answered your question. Another thing you can do to improve your range is to do staccato arpeggio. So like ooh, 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 ooh. Sometimes it's easier to hit a note when you're doing it short like that. And just remember that as you get higher, you might want to open up a little bit more. Why did I go straight to my highest note I can sing today and do that on the live? I don't know. Okay, here we go. Moving on. Let's go to the next question. All right. So I speak in a low tone compared to the other girls' voices, and my voice is very low in volume. However, when I speak, my throat gets a little uncomfortable. Could this be a problem with my speaking voice? Absolutely. If you struggle with your speaking voice, so maybe you're straining when you speak, maybe you don't speak in your natural voice. A lot of us change our voices depending on who we're talking to, or if maybe we're more shy, maybe we're a little bit more outgoing. That can inform the way that we speak, and sometimes we can develop bad habits. So when I was growing up, I used to basically be yelling all the time when I talked. I talked really loud, I was very outgoing, and I talked a lot. And as I sang more and had voice lessons, I actually learned to not speak quite so forcefully. And I take much better care of my voice. I'm much more aware of how much I talk throughout a day and change my pitch even. So instead of talking right here all the time, I'll sort of lighten up my voice and pitch it up a little bit. To fit more of like a natural, comfy place. And I also add a little bit more of a sigh to my voice than I used to. When I was younger, I used to really like talk from here instead of incorporating a little bit of that head voice into even my speaking voice. So even just that stuff plays a role, but if you were born with a raspy voice, if you have always struggled with that, I would say get a doctor's perspective on the situation. You could have a something going on with your vocal folds. We all have different anatomy in there. I mean, we all have, for the most part, vocal folds and a larynx and all that stuff, but the shape is different. You might have a polyp on your vocal fold. You might be born with a bump on your vocal fold. Certain health conditions can impact your voice. So just know that if you are struggling with your speaking voice and your stamina, yes, there's a lot of things you can do to help with that, but you know, it's very, very good to be aware of what you're working with. And okay, maybe my friend can sing all day, but I can't. I wonder why that is. Get curious about your body, and that'll help you set the correct expectations for yourself. I'm in Michigan right now. It's very dry. My voice is definitely not where I want it to be, but I I find ways to rest my voice in between lessons and get some good sleep, hydrate, and there's just different things to mitigate the challenges that come from vocal overuse and how you use it during the day. Okay, that was kind of long-winded. Hopefully that was helpful. All right, moving on. Moving on. Next question. If anybody has a question, let me know in the chat ski. Is that the last one? Yeah. Okay. So those were the questions from the week. If y'all have any questions, let me know. I'm going to introduce you to my friend Mary. And so I will do that in just a moment. But um, here's a really nice comment from Joel. Thanks, pal. For anyone wondering, she's a great vocal teacher to work with. Thank you so much. That was so nice. Yeah, if y'all are interested in voice lessons, I have a holiday special right now for a limited time. And you know where to find all the information. It's in the description. And there's quick booking available as well on my website. Okay, I'm going to introduce y'all to Mary. So think about questions you might have for Mary. She has been in the music biz for 40 years. I'll let her take over though. And I'm excited for y'all to meet her. I'm starting a limited series with her on the channel. So music biz questions, get them ready. Okay, so here we are with Mary Dew. And Mary, can you please tell everyone what you do, your background, and what you're into right now?
It's been a long, crazy journey along the way. I have been in the music business for probably about 40 years now. Since I was in high school, end of high school, senior year, I was managing my first band. And from there, went into the record side of things and worked for several different record labels. Back in the day, I was in Dallas, Texas, graduated college at Southern Methodist University, and had already been kind of working in the music biz at that point. But they had branches where I was at the Warner Elektra Atlantic branch. And so all the labels that were distributed by WEA, Warner Elektra Atlantic, were in that branch. And so I was the promotion assistant for all the different label reps, and I got to really get a great training. It was kind of trial by fire because there was a lot of people throwing things at me. It was a very different time in the music industry. They don't have that anymore. But from there, I went into radio promotion for different labels, both major and independent. And then fast forward to the turn of the century, and I kind of went off on my own and started my own label and recording studio. I married a musician, guitarist, producer, and we started our own thing. And then there was about 15 years of doing that.
Whoa.
And
so you started your own, sorry to interrupt. You started your own label, right?
Yeah. First, we opened the recording studio.
Okay.
And then started a production company, and then signed a band called Evans Blue, and that was the first band that was on our label Sounds and Sights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was a long process, but we had that label, and we're with the band Evans Blue for about 15 years. Just closed that, disbanded in 2019.
Oh, wow.
When I moved up here to Michigan. And it's so interesting too. I'd been in Nashville at that point and came to Michigan, and it was right before the pandemic hit, and then everything changed with that. And
Yes.
then coming out of that, back into radio, kind of where I began when I was in college. So it's been a long, long, twisted path.
All right, so that's Mary. I'm super excited for y'all to get to know her. I talked to her on the channel. If you have any questions about the music biz, I really liked talking to her because she's seen how the industry has changed over the past 40 years. And I think we all can agree that now, in the age of AI and just becoming an artist now, defining that for yourself, it used to be, and I talked to her about this, you move to a city that makes sense. Maybe you move to LA or New York or Nashville, depending on what type of music you do. But nowadays, people are creating their own music at home, and they're trying to find their voice at home with the help of YouTube University or an online teacher like me. And there's so many tools now to create your own music. So it was great to talk to her and kind of get some old school advice, because a lot of the advice and education on how to become a great artist is still the same. It's still the same stuff that it's been forever. So it's great to talk to her. Speaking of learning and students, I am really proud to share my student's progress in his singing. Justin did the work, though. I do wanna say that. This is all him. Even though I've been his voice coach, he's had more than one voice teacher, and I just wanna show y'all what can be possible with finding your sound. He's got a new song out right now, so it's perfect timing, but I wanted to share that with y'all, and so really listen to Justin's amazing transformation. It's seriously so good. Alright, so here he goes.
Sadness behind your eyes, I can see. There's a sadness behind your eyes, I can see.
That was so good.
When you're falling back, right here for you, I'll catch you when you're falling back. Right here for you, I'll catch you when you're falling back.
So I talked to Justin in a video, you'll see it on the channel, about his progress, and a lot of people ask about belting, about finding their voice, how do I find my voice? And we kind of peel back the layers in that video, and I'll link it at the end of this. But anyway, just a student success story, and I wanted to share that with y'all. If you have any questions about singing, let me know in the chat and I'll answer them the best of my ability. I want to know what you're wondering about singing. I love to sing, obviously, but I really love learning about where you all are in your journey. It always helps me become a better teacher, and it's great to answer whatever I can while I'm here with you all. So, if you have any questions about singing, let me know. And I will let you guys know, I've said it, I have a holiday special for voice lessons right now. So if you want to book a private session with me, you can go to oliviapeck.com. Look out for the holiday special. It's kind of insane. I also accept $5 voice memos, which is crazy. But I did that for the holiday season, and lots of people have used it over the years. It's been so cool to hear voices from all around the world. That's the benefit. You can be from anywhere. It's a little bit less scary because you're not showing your face. It's a voice memo. And then I send a voice memo back about what to work on. So it's great fun. Some people just do that all the time as like vocal coaching. Anyway, if no one has any other questions, then I'll probably wrap this up soon, but this has been really fun, and I've enjoyed the questions that we had today and questions from the week. There's a Facebook group that I post in every time I go live on YouTube, or you can subscribe here so that you don't miss out on my lives because I answer these questions almost every week, and they're usually from the comments on YouTube. So don't miss out. And I like to post helpful videos on singing. But anyway, without further ado, I really appreciate you all being here. It's always such a great time. And I will see you on the next one for sure. All right. Bye, y'all.